Hey, well, now that we have talked about how to multiply terms that have exponents and divide terms that have exponents, we're going to talk now about how to add and subtract um, polynomials, which are really just expressions with multiple terms that have exponents. And they're expressions because there are no equal signs, and so we cannot solve them. We will not be solving for anything here. We'll just be simplifying these expressions to something that is as simple as we can get it. And so I have two polynomials, basically two expressions that have multiple terms. That's what we mean when we say polynomials. And you can see that we are adding them here because there's a plus in between. And so when we have two polynomials, here they're in parentheses, and we're adding them, we can kind of just rewrite this without the parentheses. The parentheses are not unimportant, but we're going to just take the parentheses out while we're adding because it will not affect what we're doing. And so I'm going to look, and much like when we are solving equations, we can only combine things that look the same. And all of these terms have m's in them, but what makes them different is their exponent. I have two different exponents here. I have an exponent of 3, and then I have an exponent of 1. And remember, we don't write the exponent 1 even though it's there. So I can combine these terms that have the same base, the base is m, and that have the same exponent. Basically, what I'm saying here is we can combine terms that have the same power. Powers are the bases with the exponent. So I'm going to rearrange this so the terms that have the same power are next to each other. So I'm going to put my m to the thirds next to each other. So I have 6m to the third, and I have another 6m to the third, and it's positive. And then I have a minus 6m and a plus 3m. We don't have to write the first power. And now that I have them arranged, I can combine the coefficients, the numbers in front, and keep the power. This is like saying I have 6m to the thirds and 6m to the thirds, and when I add them together, I have 12m to the thirds. And then I have negative 6m's and positive 3m's, so when I combine negative 6 and positive 3, I get negative 3m's. M to the third and m look similar, but they're not the same, and so we cannot put them together. And so that's as simple as we can get that by adding those two expressions. I'm going to proceed the same way with the second one. I'm going to rewrite this without parentheses because right now the parentheses are not necessary when we're adding. They're going to be necessary when we subtract, and we'll talk about that later. And then I'm going to rearrange these terms so that the ones that are the same are together. So it might be good to go ahead and identify which ones are the same, maybe by using a different color. If you don't have a different color, you can use a different shape to circle them. You know, I boxed, I circled, maybe I can triangle. So I have x to the thirds, x to the seconds, and then I have one there, that plus 6, that has no x's. And so I typically like to write these, and that's what we usually do, is write the largest exponent first. So I have a 5x to the third, that's positive. I have a positive 2x to the third. Then I have a positive 5x to the second, and then I have a positive 6. And so now I can combine the things that are the same, that have the same bases and the same exponents, so the same power. So I have this 5x to the third plus 2x to the third gives me 7x to the third. I can't combine anything with my 5x squared. Can't combine anything with my plus 6. And so even though that doesn't look super simple, that's as simple as we can get it. We cannot combine things that don't have the same base and the same exponent. So using those two examples, which I hope you wrote down, if not, you might want to go back and grab those and write them down. Try this problem. Put your answer in the box that pops up. Then you can check your answer. I won't go over it, but I'll write the answer here. And if you got it wrong and you don't know why, make sure you raise your hand and ask for help. So you should have gotten negative 3k to the third plus 2k. Remember, when you're putting these into Edpuzzle, you can just write the exponent after the letter. Again, if you didn't get this right, please do ask for help so we can figure out why. So we've added these polynomial expressions. Now we want to subtract them. The parentheses are going to be important here. We do want to get rid of them to make our life easy, but in order to get rid of them, we have to do something. This minus here is like having a minus 1 in front of the parentheses, which tells us we need to distribute. This only happens to this second parentheses. So our first polynomial expression we can just rewrite without the parentheses. This second one here, we need to distribute a negative 1, which means pretty much simply we change the sign of everything inside the parentheses. So this positive 2n becomes a minus 2n, and this positive 1 becomes a minus 1. So that minus in front of the second set of parentheses basically tells us change the sign of everything inside the parentheses, and then you can get rid of those parentheses. So now I am back to what I was doing in the last problems, where I can rearrange these to have the like terms together. So I have a positive 5n and a minus 2n. I have a positive 8 and a minus 1. And now I can combine the things that are alike. 5n minus 2n is 3n, and 8 minus 1 is 7. And those two things can't be put together, so I leave it like that. Again, when I have this subtraction here, I can't just get rid of the parentheses. In order to do that, I need to do something. This first parentheses can go. That minus in front of that second set of parentheses tells me to change the sign of everything inside of here. So this positive 1 becomes negative 1. That negative 8p becomes positive 8p. Now I can rearrange and put things that are alike. I have a negative 5p and a plus 8p. I have a positive 1 and a negative 1. And now I'm going to combine my like terms. Negative 5p plus 8p gives me positive 3p. Use Desmos if you need it. Plus 1 minus 1 gives me 0. I don't need to do anything with the 0. It just means that those things cancel. And I have a final answer. Again, I have one for you to try. Use those two as an example. Try this one. Put your answer in the box. Then check your answer. If you didn't get it right, please do make sure you ask me for help so that we can fix any mistakes you might have made. So there's your answer. Again, if you didn't get it correct, please do ask for help so we can find a mistake and we can fix that before you move on. So as there has been, there is practice. Make sure you put your answers to the practice in the boxes that pop up. If you need help, as always, ask for help. Take your time on this. Good luck.